Hey, Mr. Klein here, and today I'm going to be talking about test selection. So as you can see on your paper here, you have three options for tests, 1, 2, 3, and when you read a problem, you're going to need to identify which one of these test statistics to use. And so I'm going to begin this way. The first one is for a proportion test. The way that you're going to know that you're using a proportion test is going to be that it's for categorical data. So the data will fall into categories, yes, no, male, female, that sort of thing. Those will be pretty easy to see. The other two tests are a little trickier. We have a mean z-test and a mean t-test. So you're going to use both of these when you're looking at means. As we talked about last class, the difference is right here with the standard deviation. You're going to use the z-test when you're given sigma, which is the population's standard deviation, and you are going to use the t-test when you are given S, which is a sample, i.e. a subset of the population's standard deviation. So that's how you decide which test to use. Let's look at three situations. For each of these situations, I want you to write the hypotheses, and then I want you to identify which test to use. First one, bottles of Pepsi are supposed to contain 20 ounces of the fizzy stuff. You go to Pepsi Co., we have changed the name of the company for legal reasons, and sample the volume of 15 bottles. The mean of the sample is 19.6 with a sample standard deviation of 0.8. Is there sufficient evidence that PepsiCo is underfilling these bottles? If so, they get slapped with a large fine. Let's start by writing the hypotheses. You want to identify whether you are working with a proportion or with a mean. And by the way, the means are used when you have numerical data. And that's exactly what we have right here. In the problem, it says that they're supposed to have 20 ounces of the fizzy stuff. So that means that mu should be our mean. Therefore, our null hypothesis and our alternative hypothesis are both going to be about a mean. The null is always that nothing has changed. So I'm going to write the mean is still 20 ounces. The alternative is based on this question. Is there sufficient evidence that PepsiCo is underfilling the bottles? Underfilling meaning that the mean is smaller than 20. So there are hypotheses. Which test do we use? Well, if we look up here, we've eliminated the first one. That leaves us with these two. So the question is, do we have a population standard deviation or do we have a sample standard deviation? I'm going to go back to the paragraph. The mean of the sample is 19.6 with a sample standard deviation of 0.8. So since we have a sample standard deviation, that means we need to use this one, the mean t-test. Next question, number 2. Donald Trump won 45% of the vote in Bloomfield Hills in 2016. A poll of 500 likely voters finds that 50% intend to vote for him in 2020. A poll means that it's a sample. Is there convincing evidence that Trump will receive a larger proportion of the vote in BH in 2020? So first for the hypotheses. This problem is about who people are going to vote for. They're either going to vote for Trump or not. That's a yes-no situation, which means that we know we are dealing with categorical data. If it is categorical data, you want your hypotheses to be about P. So this should write as P. The null is always that nothing has changed, and so in the past, 45% of the population voted for him. That should be a 4. And the question says, is there evidence that a larger proportion will vote for him this time? Larger means P is greater than 0.45. the test we're going to use is going to be the proportion z-test. Last problem. A big box store that is definitely not Walmart has been sued for $10 million by a group of female employees claiming that the company systematically underpays female employees. Company records show that the average employee makes this much money. All right, so this is a dollar amount, so we know that this problem is going to be all it means, with a standard deviation of 10,000. The plaintiffs gather a random sample of 500 female employees, the mean of which is 43,500. If you look up here, it says they are claiming that the company systematically underpays female employees. So we know this problem is going to be about the means. We know that the mean historically is $45,000, and since they're claiming or alleging that females are underpaid, underpaid means less than $45,000. As for which test to use, we know it's a mean test. It says here that the standard deviation comes from the company records of everybody, which means that this is a sigma. This is the entire population's standard deviation. Therefore, we're going to use the mean z-test. So there are 3 examples of how you select the test to use. Let's go to the next video.